Hi, welcome to Jeremy's Tech Channel. And today, what's up with WhatsApp? I'm Jeremy. This channel is about tech. Go figure. So today we're going to talk about WhatsApp. What's up with that? WhatsApp has been something that has changed my communication life over the past 8 or 9 months that I wasn't expecting. And so I wanted to kind of share because if you're living in the United States, there's been a recent push to use WhatsApp for multiple reasons that we're going to walk through today. And I also want to give someone who might be looking into figuring out if they should use WhatsApp. We have been traveling around Southeast Asia since August of 2023. Every country we've been to, WhatsApp is, most likely going to be used. Sometimes, like when we were in the Philippines, Facebook Messenger was the main form of communication, but almost none of them used classic text message, RCS, SMS kind of text messaging solutions, iMessage, any of that. And so we had to get onto the WhatsApp train, and there's some great things about it, and there's some challenges with it. I had no idea how popular of a communication app this was, but why would you use it and why not? And there's a couple of main reasons, and it got brought to my attention that the United States is actually starting to adopt it. And right before I left the United States for this trip that I'm taking around Southeast Asia, there was a lot of communication because I guess the EU was trying to encourage or force Apple to set up where RCS support for, messages between iPhone and Android to be able to work in a lot better way. And I'm like, okay, whatever, people have already accepted it and that's just the way it is. But there's so much more. And even in Europe, it's not even a big deal there. A lot of people that I've come in contact with here, we do something called world schooling with my kids. And so we get to meet people from the UK and South Africa and Germany and Sweden and all of these places on top of all of these people in Southeast Asia. All of them use WhatsApp. And I'm like, why are y'all using WhatsApp? And there's a couple of things that you need to know about. If you're in the United States and you're like, well, should I start this WhatsApp thing? It's probably going to take over at some point. Everyone wants to communicate the same way. And in America, text messaging was actually a pretty cost-effective way to communicate. iMessage became a thing and Android had their thing. They started using RCS. Their iMessage works great in iOS and RCS works great in Android, but communicating together causes problems. You've probably experienced the, blue bubble, green bubble thing. You're like, what's the big deal? Especially if you're in another country, what's the big deal? Well, in America, if you are used to using text messaging, then you understand this a little more. But if someone from an Android device sends a picture, it goes through SMS and it's a much lower degraded picture than someone sending iPhone to iPhone. And, that was kind of a challenge and issue if you wanted to share a piece of media. And also, like, let's say your mom was going to like a comment. She uses her Android phone. She hits like, and it gets sent to the iMessage user. It just says liked by so and so, and it wasn't seamless and it didn't work right. So a lot of people kind of got pressured into using iOS devices because it's just easier. It just works better. If you love doing the Mac thing, it is easier, right? It's just easier to do that. But there's so many other factors into using an iPhone or a Mac or an Apple ecosystem, and you should have a choice, right? Those are some of the main challenges in the United States that people were dealing with, at least, probably most of North America as well. The rest of the world didn't feel like the need to deal with that. Text messages were more costly than getting an application on your phone and using data. And so WhatsApp is something that people started to use a lot. It was cross-platform, didn't matter whether you were using a phone, whether you were using your laptop, whether you were using Linux or Windows, it didn't matter. And so people started using WhatsApp. And it's really become something that I didn't know was such a big deal because I've been living in the United States under a rock somewhere. So now hey, if I'm in America, this is why I probably didn't use it. Now you need to know why you should. And one of those reasons we just kind of discussed, you don't have to deal with the blue bubble, green bubble thing. Okay? It behaves like any other messaging application. And so that's really great. Two, the move from social discourse on social media, like, Facebook threads and people kind of getting back and forth in communication there, or maybe on a forum or something like that. People have kind of moved into these larger groups onto WhatsApp and have a more private conversation or discourse over a topic. Or let's say you have a really big family and you guys are doing things and you plan things and you deal with stuff. It really handles large group conversations better than most other apps, and definitely better than email. I don't know if you grew up and had the time when everyone in the family or maybe your business would communicate through email and handle those group conversations. WhatsApp really handles those very well. If you want to kind of move some of your discourse off of social media, and you might have a large family, small business, those kinds of things for communication, WhatsApp will definitely really help you. Also, if you have friends or family that are using an Android device and you're used to using iOS, it's so easy to just get the application and just put yourself in a cross-platform situation. So that's really great. There are some challenges to using WhatsApp. One, it's owned by Meta, so it's owned by Facebook. And if you have a problem with large corporations and the amount of data mining that happens, so if you have a problem with that, WhatsApp may not work for you. There's probably some of you who feel like I've already given all my information away. So what's one more thing? That's not something we're going to discuss today. But when you're dealing with needing to communicate, a need to communicate wherever you're at is actually pretty big. There are so many advantages to it that for me, that part didn't deter me. There's also been some situations in the past, just like with most other platforms, where you have someone trying to, you might deal with some spam or, a nefarious link sent to you. Most of that's a non-issue, and you just got to just use your smarts, and that's no big deal. It doesn't happen very often. In fact, I'm trying to remember it happening to me, and I'm sure it has since I've been using WhatsApp. But should you use WhatsApp? It's up to you. As a family that my wife uses iPhone, my son uses iPhone, and I use Android, it's nice to have WhatsApp. And maybe you want to use Facebook Messenger. There's actually a lot of similarities there. But like I said, as far as handling large group communication, it really is quite easy and does it really well. The UI is quite nice to use. And I would put that above Facebook Messenger. It really helps us to communicate. So if you're an Android user, if you're a Linux user, if you're a PC user, you're a Mac user, this allows you to communicate cross-platform individually. So a message from individual to individual is supposedly encrypted between those communications. I haven't been able to test that, but that's what they say. Being in the tech world, there's a lot of introverts. We love communicating as little as possible, as direct as possible, and as efficient as possible. And having to have multiple applications to communicate and say the same thing can be frustrating. I completely understand. But a lot of the world has moved to WhatsApp. And if this is something that you're considering, I'd say go for it. Put it on your phone, see how it works for you. It's actually quite easy to set up. See if any of your family members are willing to try it, or maybe another person that you trust or a friend, and kind of just explore and see if it's for you. I like it. I think it's fascinating that the United States has been stuck on this texting way of doing things, and the rest of the world just doesn't even care. They don't use it. Maybe we should consider WhatsApp. North America, maybe we should consider something else. Maybe that's just not going to work. You're like, ooh, Meta bad. Okay, great. Find something. Signal, something along those lines that might work better for you. Let's find something and let's stop worrying about what color the bubbles are, or can I send a quality image or video to my mom or to a work group so that we can properly work through our problem, or tell your mom Happy Mother's Day, right? Thanks for listening to me today. What's up with WhatsApp? It's pretty cool.